Chrissy Teigen faced a lot of backlash last year after she was caught in a scandal with Courtney Stodden. After leaked DMs and tweets showed just how mean Chrissy was towards Courtney when they were younger, Chrissy got cancelled on social media for being a horrible person, but there are plenty of other celebrities who have proven to be just as bad or even worse than her, so let's get to counting down the top 10 celebrities who are worse than Chrissy Teigen. At number 10, Amber Heard. As bad as Chrissy Teigen may be, I'm pretty sure it can be argued that Amber Heard is worse just by going off everything that we learned about her back in 2020. It should really come as no surprise to you that she's on this list for being a horrible person. Let me recap some of her worst moments. She's gotten into a fight with her sister, she's been recorded confessing to hitting Johnny Depp, she's pretended to be the victim of a violent crime, she smuggled her dog into Australia and pretended to not have known about the laws there and tried to get her assistant to commit perjury, she's responsible for Johnny's severed finger, and she's supposedly planted stories in the media to deliberately shift the focus from Johnny to her. Because of all these things, the case could certainly be made to see Amber as a worse person compared to Chrissy. There have been petitions to have Amber removed from certain movies, and she's lost a lot of respect from fans and Hollywood people, so yeah, she's pretty awful. At number 9, Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks isn't as nice as she might seem on TV. She claims to be someone who's inclusive in the modeling industry and claims that she is kind and fair to everyone, but that is so far from the truth, and because of her actions, she might be worse than Chrissy Teigen. In the past, Tyra has even tried framing Naomi Campbell as the industry's mean girl, but after Naomi responded to those allegations thrown her way, people started realizing that it was Tyra who's the tyrant all along, and her past actions have been pretty horrible. Other than throwing shade at Naomi, we've also come to realize what other horrible things she's done. For example, while on America's Next Top Model, she made the contestants change their appearances all the time. Though Tyra claims to be about being unique, she sure does like changing these girls' looks. On top of that, she's also forced the contestants to wear blackface and other racially insensitive makeup and clothing. Though she claimed it was to show off and express other cultures, she totally went about that in an offensive and mean way. And Tyra has even shamed people for the way that they express themselves, as well as some contestants' sexualities. So many former contestants of the show have come forward to expose just how horrible Tyra is to work with, and if you see Tyra's outbursts on TV, I think that's already proof enough as to how mean she can be. She's kind of a fake nice person, but what do you think? Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who are arguably worse than Chrissy Teigen, why not leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Bruce Willis. Actor Bruce Willis has had a great career making great movies, basking in fame, and making money, but it seems as though he's not all that awesome in real life. Apparently, Bruce is a nightmare to work with, and people just really hate working with him because he can be pretty mean to people. In 2005, Sybil Shepherd spoke out about Bruce's true colors when she told sources that there came a point where her relationship with him became volatile and they clashed a lot on set. There was reportedly constant bickering and it was just a toxic environment. But Sybil isn't the only one to have clashed with Bruce while working together. Filmmaker Kevin Smith has also had his troubles with working with Bruce while filming the 2010 movie Cop Out. He told sources that though he said that Bruce was his hero in past productions, that opinion went out the window, saying that working with Bruce was difficult. When talking about their time together on set, Kevin said, quote, "He turned out to be the unhappiest, most bitter, and meanest emo B-word I have ever met at any job I've held down, and mind you, I've worked at Domino's Pizza. What an awful experience." End quote. Maybe Bruce isn't all he's cracked up to be. He just seems to leave a bad taste in people's mouths, and he could arguably be as horrible to be around as Chrissy Teigen. At number 7, Naomi Campbell. Supermodel Naomi Campbell has been in the fashion industry for over 30 years. Over this time, she's had her share of scandals and feuds, most notably her feud with fellow model Tyra Banks, who painted Naomi as the industry's mean girl. Though this feud has shown that Tyra is meaner than Naomi, and we've covered her mean streak just previously, that doesn't mean that Naomi is off the hook, because she's known to have violent outbursts. Naomi has been accused of being violent towards people on 11 occasions, and has been convicted of causing bodily harm 4 times. Some of the reported incidents include the model physically harming her assistant, grabbing her by the throat and beating her with a phone, harming another assistant and allegedly holding her hostage, throwing her phone at a housekeeper, and other accounts of emotional and physical distress. Naomi is known for having a temper and for getting into conflicts in the past, but she still tries to make amends for those actions. Based on all of that, I think we can agree that she's up there with Chrissy Teigen when it comes to being a questionable person. At number 6, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey isn't the nicest person ever. I think we are all more than aware of that by now. She's had run-ins with the paparazzi which have not gone over well, she's had some bad relationships with others, and she's known for being something of a diva. There was even a lawsuit from one of Mariah's former assistants that claimed that the singer peed on her, ridiculed her body, and called her some pretty rude names. Her former assistant said that she was hired by the singer to be on call 24/7 and assisted both Mariah and her manager. Though she was paid a salary of $250,000 a year, this wage couldn't cover up her alleged torments sustained by Mariah. But her case wasn't the only one up against a singer at that same time. While this case was being disputed, Mariah had just settled one with her former manager, which cited breach of contract, harassment, and unpaid wages. It seems like though she pays her people well, she doesn't really treat them as she should, which kind of makes her worse than Chrissy Teigen. At number 5, Hilary Duff. When Hilary Duff was on the Disney Channel playing Lizzie McGuire, her character was very much against bullying and hate, but in real life, Hilary is kind of the complete opposite, and she's kind of mean. For example, in 2018, Hilary got into a bit of a scandal as people called her out for bullying her neighbor. The actress took to her Instagram stories to rant about her rude neighbor, calling them out on how her apartment smelled like cigarette smoke and the good kush because of them, and even ridiculing them on how they afford to live there, saying, quote, "We know your parents pay your rent, we know you've never worked a day in your life, must be nice." End quote. Hilary really just berated her neighbor publicly, calling them out on many of their actions, but what people really didn't like about this rant was how she used her neighbor's name in the videos. She plastered their name across the screen multiple times, and because of this public exposure, people saw this as bullying, and Instagram even took her videos down because they violated the platform's terms. These actions on Hilary's part are pretty much up there with the bullying that Chrissy Teigen subjected Courtney Stodden to. At number 4, Vanessa Hudgens. Even though she seemed nice enough while on the Disney Channel, Vanessa Hudgens actually has a history of being mean, as fans have recounted stories of their rude encounters with the actress. One fan once said that Vanessa screamed at her while in a department store shopping with her then boyfriend Zac Efron because she was a fan of Zac and she just wanted to talk to him. Vanessa caused a scene just because she didn't want to be interrupted by a fan. Another more recent case of Vanessa being mean comes from her comments about the pandemic that caused her to get cancelled back in 2020. Early on, while the world was in their first lockdown, Vanessa made some comments about people being affected by COVID and passing away, saying that it's, quote, "terrible but inevitable," end quote. A lot of people don't really like Vanessa because she just isn't a nice person and can sometimes say the complete wrong thing, ultimately leading to hurting others. At number 3, Shia LaBeouf. Former Disney actor Shia LaBeouf has faced a lot of controversy because of his actions. He's faced backlash for racism in the past, as he once got into a confrontation with a black police officer and told the officer he was going to hell because of his skin color. He's faced criticism for plagiarism, as he's been caught stealing work from other people, from things like apologies to story plots, and he's even been in a few scandals for violence, as he's been involved in many physical altercations over the years. Most recently, he faced scrutiny as his ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs came forward about how he hurt her mentally and physically while in a relationship with him, recounting some of the horrible instances she faced while with him. Shia is certainly one of those mean celebrities who gives Chrissy Teigen a run for her money. At number 2, Sharon Osbourne. Last year, Sharon Osbourne was facing backlash because of her comments of support for Piers Morgan and his views on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's bombshell interview. She got into a heated confrontation with one of her talk show co-hosts, resulting in CBS conducting an internal investigation. On top of that, Leah Remini exposed Sharon for having used offensive slurs in reference to Julie Chen and Sarah Gilbert on The Talk. This new information had prompted the studio to put the show on an extended hiatus to investigate these allegations. Leah claimed that Sharon used slurs commenting on Julie's eye shape and ethnicity because she is Asian American, and she also used homophobic slurs in reference to Sarah because she's part of the LGBTQ+ community. Though these claims were denied by Sharon, this isn't the first time she's come under fire for offensive comments like this, as back in 2011, Sharon also allegedly said that one of the former hosts of The View was, quote, "too ghetto for the show." Those were some pretty horrible things to say, so she could be as bad, if not worse, than Chrissy Teigen. And finally, at number 1, Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake has been asked to take accountability for his past actions after he faced a lot of backlash from Britney Spears fans following the release of the bombshell documentary Framing Britney Spears. Fans had flooded his social media pages demanding that he apologize after the documentary exposed him for how she was treated in the public eye after their breakup in the early 2000s. The documentary looks into the way the pop star was portrayed in the media, from the paparazzi to interviews, and it takes an in-depth in-depth look into how this stardom affect her. A big part of the documentary explored Justin Timberlake's role in the media's mistreatment of Britney after their public breakup in 2002, showing that after their relationship ended, Justin made Britney look like the villain in the relationship, accusing her of cheating and essentially weaponizing their breakup to boost his career. This made life so much harder for Britney, who really didn't deserve all that hate, so because of his actions, he certainly measures up to how mean Chrissy Teigen is. Before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to tell me if there are other celebrities out there who you think are worse than Chrissy Teigen. I'm sure you guys have other people to add to this list, so leave me your thoughts down in the comments. Anyways, that's it for me. I've been your host, Bree Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay groovy, friends.